Zombies, one of the world's most popular villains in comic books, movies, television, and of course, video games. We all talk about what we would do when the zombies finally come out, but could you really do what's necessary when everyone around you wants your brain? Hi, I'm Joe with the Leaderboard, and we are taking a look at Telltale's undead franchise full of walkers and difficult choices. So grab your weapon and watch out for bites, because we've got 107 facts about The Walking Dead. Let's get started. Number 1. The Walking Dead was created by Telltale Games and released on April 24th, 2012. The series was co-led by Sean Vanneman and Jake Rodkin. Number 2. Telltale is also responsible for games based on titles such as Batman, Guardians of the Galaxy, Minecraft, Jurassic Park, and Game of Thrones. Number 3. What sets Telltale Games apart is that their games are based on plot and character development rather than only puzzle solving. Number 4. Telltale is also famous for releasing their titles in episodic form, similar to that of a TV series. Each subsequent game is referred to as a season rather than a sequel. Number 5. The Walking Dead is based on the comic book series, obviously called The Walking Dead, created by Robert Kirkman and drawn by Tony Moore. Thus, the game takes place entirely in that world from the comics, not in the world from the TV series. Number 6. When asking Kirkman about creating The Walking Dead, Kirkman told the developers he doesn't understand why people think it's so hard to write The Walking Dead. All you have to do is make people hug and cry and shit. The game developers wrote it down immediately and took it to heart. Oh, Lee. Number 7. Apparently, the idea for a Walking Dead video game actually dates back to the days of Homestar Runner. Rob Kirkman first became interested in making a video game after playing Telltale's Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People. Number 8. Kirkman wanted to create a game that was different than the stereotypical zombie shooter. He wanted a real Walking Dead experience, where you interact and make choices rather than run in guns blazing. Number 9. The Walking Dead series currently stands at 3 seasons, with DLC and a side story. The game starts during the time Rick, the main character of the comics and TV show, is in a coma. Number 10. If you choose to give Clementine the apple when you're choosing who to give rations to, she'll tell you that she loves apples. Isn't that sweet? Well, Clementine, we all love you. I'm sorry. Moving on. Number 11. The word zombie actually doesn't exist in the Walking Dead universe. George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and other zombie films were simply never made in their world. This is why zombies in the books, TV show, and games are referred to as walkers. Number 12. That being said, there is a moment in the game where Lee refers to a walker as a zombie.
The keys are on that zombie out on the street.
It seems to be the only instance of the rule being broken. Have you heard it any other time? Let us know in the comments. Number 13. In the initial planning of the game, the main focus was going to be on Clementine and her older brother. The brother was later changed to Lee Everett because they felt a pre-existing relationship would be too much to ask a player to take on. Number 14. The character Clementine is actually based on art director Derek Sakai's own daughter. He said that his daughter is only 5, but if I step out of line, she is always the first to call me on it. Number 15. Clementine was the first part of the game that Telltale came up with. Sean Vanneman said, "From the beginning, the designers knew they wanted a character that would act as a moral compass for the main character as he progressed through the game." Number 16. Clementine was actually almost cut from the game entirely. Developers feared that players would not be able to connect with her as a character. They should really look at the hashtag for Clementine. Number 17. The character Doug is actually modeled after a friend of Telltale, Doug TABACCO. This is why the game tries to pressure you into saving Doug instead of Carly. Number 18. According to lead designer Sean Vanneman, Doug only had a 28% survival rate in the games. Sorry, Doug. When fans learned of this fact, a group of them actually bound together to create a Save Doug Facebook page. Aww. Number 19. Another example of real people in the game is the character Eddie. Eddie is modeled after Sean Ainsworth's brother, Chris Robert. Sean is the director of the 400 Days DLC from Season 1. Number 20. There were early plans to have the mob involved in Season 1. They cut the idea fairly quickly in development because they thought it was too ridiculous. They would have been chasing you for about 6 hours. That's a lot of running from the mob. Number 21. Before the outbreak, Lee was on his way to prison for killing the man his wife was having an affair with. Ew, sounds messier than the zombies. Number 22. When designing Lee, the idea was to create a character with all the qualities of someone you'd want on your side. They wanted someone like Rick, but with a darker story. I think they succeeded. Did you hear about that love triangle? Number 23. The reason for creating Lee rather than following Rick was simply because the game takes place in the comic book universe, and at this point, Rick is in a coma. Kirkman also thought that we follow Rick so much already. Number 24. To help gain support for the first season of the game, Telltale hosted a contest where 4 randomly selected people who pre-ordered the game would be featured as walkers. They can be found in episode 5, No Time Left, as Lee is heading towards the Marsh House. Number 25. The grand prize winner of the contest was put in the game as a living character and later turned into a walker. That character is BRIE, modeled after BRIE ROSENHOLM. BRIE first appeared in episode 4, Around Every Corner, and died in episode 5. Tragic. Poor BRIE. Number 26. Telltale believes that there is no right way or wrong way to play the game, just don't die. Good advice. They purposely give you a ton of choices, and some are easier ones. Some gear you towards being the bad guy, while some allow you to take the more sympathetic road. But they say most people play it in the middle, where they are sort of in the gray area. Number 27. In order to help make players' decisions more reactive, a timer was placed in the game to help put pressure on the players during some of the major decisions throughout the plot. Like if someone is turning into a zombie and you're locked in a room with them. They purposely did not want players to have much time to think about it, because in real life, you would not get the luxury of carefully weighing out your options. You would just have to decide and react quickly. Number 28. While it's not canon for the game, Michonne has referred to the city of Macon, Georgia in the series. In episode 1 of season 4, Michonne considers Macon to be a possible destination for the group. I wonder if they'd have put Clem in the show. Number 29. Glenn's actions in the game are considered canon for the comic books, but not for the TV series. Spoiler, it might have been safer if he'd stayed put. Number 30. Lily was originally intended to be the same character from the comic and novel series. This was later changed after the book Road to Woodbury was released and had a different backstory than the video game. They also changed the achievement display in the game that originally said Woodbury Bound to instead say, What now? Number 31. The biggest surprise voice-wise for the Telltale team was Nikki Rapp, the voice of Lily. They were surprised because her previous roles in games like Psychonauts and Tales of Monkey Island were so bubbly, frantic, and higher-pitched, almost the polar opposite of what they needed for Lily. But I guess she nailed it. Number 32. Similar to shows like The Talking Dead and Talking Fear, there was an online talk show for the Walking Dead games called Playing Dead. Sadly, Chris Hardwick was not the host. Originally, it was hosted by AJ Lucasio, and then later by Greg Miller when he was at IGN. Number 33. The art style of the game is actually based on rendering 2D art and making it into a 3D model. This was to help keep the style of the comics for the gaming experience. Number 34. When Telltale told Kirkman that they were going to try and emulate Charlie Adler's art from the books, he was a little worried about how it would look. Clearly, he was pleasantly surprised. Number 35. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. Turns out, the designers of the game agreed. The reason all the characters have such big eyes is to help the characters emote more. Hey, it worked for Lucille Ball. Number 36. Early on in the process, Telltale considered making the game black and white to reflect the style of the comics. The idea was later dropped due to animation concerns and general aesthetics. They said it's harder to make moving shots look good in black and white versus static black and white artwork for the comics, especially with the camera and lighting aspects of the game's moving frames. Number 37. Each episode was created to take about 2 hours to play through, so that players could get through the episode in a timely manner and be able to process and talk about what you just experienced. Number 38. It was actually announced very early on that the actors from the show would not be involved in the game, further emphasizing the fact that the game is in the comic universe, not the TV show. Got that, TV fans? Capiche? Number 39. Lee was voiced by Dave Fennoy. Dave has also done voice work in other games like Street Fighter V, World of Warcraft Legion, Ruby, Grim Eclipse, the Batman Arkham series, and more. Number 40. Dave Fennoy has stated his favorite Lee moment in the game is meeting Clementine. He is just blown away by how the zombie apocalypse freed him, and how this little girl can free him. His next favorite moment is saying goodbye to Clementine. We feel you there, buddy. Number 41. Dave still gets messages from fans trying to figure out a way for Lee to return to the series. One fan idea was that episode 4 and 5 were a dream, and Lee will come back as a half-zombie. Dave hasn't heard anything from Telltale, but I think we all know he can't come back like that. Number 42. Before season 1 of the game, Lee was a history professor at the University of Georgia for over 6 years, while his family ran a business in their hometown of Macon. Number 43. The creators of the game have stated that there is no real canon for what Lee would do in the game at any moment. Every option they gave the player is a realistic action they felt that he would make. Number 44. Lee placed number 1 in Game Informer's Top 10 Heroes of 2012 list, while Games Radar staff placed Lee at number 84 in their Best Video Game Hero list. What would you rate him? Number 45. There is a choice you can make in Episode 3 that the developers called Duckpocalypse. When talking to Kenny on the train, if you remain silent, Kenny will eventually kick you out. Walking back to the car, you will find blood, Clem's hat, and a walker duck who will attack you. In the initial release, only 0.5% of players actually made this choice. Can you blame them? Number 46. In Starved for Help, players have the option of who to give their food rations to. 96% of players gave it to Clementine, while Duck was the second most fed character. Number 47. The idea to kill Lee at the end of Season 1 was heavily debated in the office. Sean Vanneman had to be convinced that it was a good idea to kill off their main character, and that it was not lame. Do you agree? Number 48. When thinking about his lines, Dave said he thought about how he would be with his own daughter in that terrible of a circumstance. Hopefully, he never has to really live that. Number 49. Dave said when he first found out Lee was going to die in the game, he was pissed off. But as an actor, it gave him some opportunities to emote in a game that you usually don't get. Number 50. If you choose to have Clementine shoot Lee, you will hear Lee's last breath. That is actually Dave FENNOY crying due to the emotion of the sequence. Number 51. Kirkman actually believes that it's better to have Clementine shoot Lee rather than leave him to turn. He felt it was better to prepare her for the harsh world rather than protect her. That's cold. Number 52. When asked about his opinion on the emotional response to the game, Kirkman said, "It's really cool, but I still think those guys are all wimps." Huh. Bring it on, Kirkman. Number 53. Clementine was voiced by Melissa Hutchison. Melissa has worked on numerous Telltale games, including Sam & Max, Back to the Future, and Minecraft Story Mode. She also voiced Ash in a little game that's kind of known as League of Legends.
How do you like the curves? I was talking about the bow.
Number 54. Dave FENNOY and Melissa Hutchinson didn't meet each other until recording Episode 3. They met in the parking lot of the studio at random. Or was it destiny? Number 55. Fans were extremely excited to hear that Omid was returning to The Walking Dead in Season 2. His voice actor, Owen Thomas, explained how fans would write him constantly to congratulate him and let him know how excited they were for Omid's return. Good to know, since upon his character's death in Episode 1, fans were extremely angry with him for not telling them that his character was destined to die. Guess they really love Omid. Number 56. Some people say that the character Omid kind of looks like Harrison Pink, one of Telltale Games' designers who worked on The Walking Dead. Do you agree? Comment below. Number 57. The character Mark was actually added to show the passage of time in between episodes 1 and 2 of Season 1, so we can see the team's evolution. Since 3 months has passed in the storyline, the development team did not want to use the exact same characters like nothing has happened or changed in their lives. Number 58. In the beginning of Season 1, Episode 2, Mark predicts almost the entire episode. He references becoming food, not wanting to be stuck in a room with Larry, and having Lee's back. These are played out when Mark's legs are removed to feed the crew, Larry almost becomes a walker when he dies, and when Walker Mark kills a woman who has a gun to Lee's head. How did he see it all coming? Number 59. The markings on the doors in Season 1, Episode 4 are made to look like the FEMA markings on the buildings that have already been searched. The initials on these doors are actually the initials of members of the Telltale family. Number 60. In Season 1, Episode 4, Lee finds a series of videotapes that are dated October 9th and 10th. These are the dates that Episode 4 was released on the PSN and Xbox and PC. These tapes are actually seen in Season 2, Episode 3 of the game as well. Number 61. There are so many choices to be made in each season that fans have created choice trees in order to assist others in making the hard decisions. Wish I had one of those. Number 62. There are a total of 7 different possible endings to Season 2 of the game alone. A pivotal decision towards the end determines whether you will stay with one of 2 characters or go on your own without them. Number 63. If you decide to go with either character in the end, you get another chance later to decide whether to continue with them again or to go on your own. So many decisions, so little time. Number 64. The big bad of Season 2, Carver, was voiced by Michael Madsen. Madsen is best known in his film work, especially with Tarantino films such as Kill Bill, Hateful Eight, and Reservoir Dogs. Number 65. Before Madsen joined the cast as Carver, the character was actually supposed to be a more atmospheric and omnipresent villain for the season. With a voice like Madsen's, we couldn't agree more with the beefed up role. Number 66. Due to the time skip between Season 1 and 2, Hutchinson sent in about 7 different versions of Clementine's voice to try and figure out how much she matured in that time. Number 67. At the end of Season 1, Episode 1, if you listen carefully, you can hear Duck telling Clementine about a comic called Super Dinosaur. That is another series created by Robert Kirkman. Number 68. In Season 2, Luke pulls Clementine into a comic book store. All the posters are from series by Robert Kirkman's Skybound Entertainment. These include Kirkman's own Invincible and Science Dog, and Joshua Williams' Ghosted. Number 69. Sound design was considered the second most important part of the game, only behind what it would actually look like. Sound design was done by Jared Emerson Johnson. Jared is responsible for the soundtracks to pretty much every Telltale game to date. He came in with a catalog of over 200 songs to try and find the right tone for each episode. Number 70. Early on in Season 2's development, there was talk about adding a tiger into the game. This was scrapped because it was not grounded in the real world. Shortly afterward, the character Ezekiel was introduced into the comics, along with his pet tiger. Whoops. Number 71. Molly was created to be a little of Glenn, Michonne, and Daryl. They wanted a strong, badass woman who was a little different than the other female characters in the game at that point. She definitely became a fan favorite among many players. Number 72. In June 2015, Telltale announced their miniseries, Michonne. It was a 3-episode arc following the fan-favorite character from the comics. Number 73. In Michonne, you can actually find Clementine's drawing on the wall while searching the mob jack. Pity they never meet. Number 74. Part of what makes Telltale unique is the use of insider forums. The company uses these as a way to interact with their fans, have Q&As, ask fans for help on minor pieces of the games, and release early concept art. Number 75. Looks like these forums worked. The first season of Walking Dead won over 90 Game of the Year awards from places like Wired, Xbox Magazine, Machinima, Kotaku, and IGN, just to name a few. Number 76. Season 1 of the game won other awards too, including BAFTA's Best Game Award in 2013 and the BTVA's People's Choice for Best Male Vocal Performance in a Video Game for Dave Fennoy. Number 77. Melissa Hutchinson was also nominated for the NAV GTR Award for Best Female Lead Vocal Performance in a Video Game, and Season 2 won the 2014 award for Writing in a Drama for Nick Brecken, Andrew Grant, and Telltale Games as a whole. Number 78. During Season 2, there was a push for Kenny to be made a playable character in Season 3. Some fans thought it would mean the death of Clementine, but others thought it would introduce 2 playable characters. Sadly, Kenny never became a playable character, but they did introduce a second playable character, Javier, a former pro baseball player. Number 79. There is unused dialogue from Season 2, Episode 4, where Jane tells Clementine a dirty joke about sheep. This was cut from the final version, but the audio was recovered and later put together. Number 80. Season 2's Luke is voiced by Scott Porter. You may remember him for his role as Jason Street on Friday Night Lights. The character Luke was originally introduced via a teaser clip posted on the former social media website, Vine. Number 81. In early concept art, Luke was seen wearing another character's clothing, Nick's. He was also a bit taller than Nick. Guess he got a slight makeover. Number 82. Season 2, Episode 2 ends with the song In the Pines. This was not sung by a professional singer, but rather by an animator at Telltale named Janelle Drewis. She is responsible for some key moments in the season, including Clementine in the shed and reuniting with Kenny. Number 83. In Season 1, Episode 3, there is a reference to another Telltale game. In the RV, there is a container of Benang. There is another container in the DLC 400 Days. In the Diner in Shell story, Benang is the banana-flavored drink from the Telltale game Sam & Max. Number 84. In Season 2 of the game, Clementine meets a dog named Sam, yet another reference to the canine protagonist of Telltale's Sam & Max. Number 85. One of the largest mysteries of the series is the fate of Krista and Omid's child. In the first episode of Season 2, Krista goes from being pregnant to not pregnant, without any explanation. Later on in the series, it is implied that the child died, when Clementine says,
No, not again. Not again.
After being told Alvin Jr. had died. Number 86. In 2015, Kenny's voice actor, Gavin Hammond, revealed that Kenny was originally going to be the leader of the community that the cabin survivors fled from. This idea was later changed and Kenny was replaced with Carver. Number 87. Kenny wasn't supposed to appear in Season 2 of the game. Gavin actually recorded Kenny's death for Season 1, Episode 5, but it was later changed so he could return for the following season. Number 88. In Shell's story, the cancer patients talk about stealing Kenny's boat. This is a tie-in to Episode 5 of Season 1. Depending on who you left to guard it, they either mentioned the guy with the mustache, the woman and her boyfriend, or the teenager. This refers to Kenny, Omid and Krista, and Ben. Everything is connected. Number 89. In Season 2's Episode 2, the Telltale logo can be found on a kitchen knife in the cabin. Who knew Telltale made kitchenware? Number 90. In the beginning of the game, the police officer mentions a man with glasses that he transported once. This was later confirmed to be Thomas Richards, the serial killer from the comics. Number 91. The Season 1 Game of the Year edition came with a bonus CD that had Telltale giving away tidbits of the upcoming seasons, like how Clementine would use her environment more to do things like run and hide instead of always fighting. Number 92. Did you ever feel that the end of Season 1 felt a bit nostalgic? Well, maybe that's because your final kill in the game is a walker in a police uniform, just like the very first kill you had to make. Talk about coming full circle. Number 93. In case you were wondering, Clementine loves her hat so much because it was given to her by her father. It's definitely a sentimental attachment, which comes up often in the game. Number 94. Clementine has many other sentimental items, including a photo of Lee, her hair clips which Lily gave her drawing of Kenny, Katya, and Duck, and a jacket from Bonnie. Number 95. The MACCABE import sign that Omid, Krista, and Lee attempt to cross is named after concept artist Jesse McCabe from Telltale Games. Number 96. In Season 2, Episode 2, Clementine can find a CD for Cousin Jared's concert. This is referencing Jared Emerson Johnson, the music director for the game. Number 97. There is a moment in Episode 5 where if you choose to talk to Kenny 5 times, Lee will mention Randy Tudor.
Randy Tudor. Good man. Damn fine man. Powerful stash. One of the greats.
This is a call to Randy Tudor, the lead programmer at Telltale Games. Number 98. In 400 Days, in Vince's storyline, it would appear that he is a magician. If you chose to shoot off Danny's foot, Vince's right hand goes straight through his handcuffs when you fire the gun. Later on, Justin's handcuffs disappear when he and Vince exit the van, even though they never actually take the keys. Number 99. While battling zombies is a foreseen task in anything Walking Dead related, some commands in the game actually allow for overkill. An example is in Episode 1 when you are killing the walker in Clementine's house. You only have to hit it 2 or 3 times, but the game allows you to hit it a lot more. Number 100. Though many people complained about the pessimistic Larry and talked about how much they wanted to see him die, 68% of players chose to attempt to save his life when Episode 2 was initially released. Number 101. If Lee chooses to help resuscitate Larry, there's a brief moment where his mouth is moving. Whether or not this was intended to show if Larry would have survived has never been stated, but it is a popular conspiracy theory. Number 102. Kumail Nanjiani was actually offered his role as Reggie in Season 2 after interviewing the writers of Season 1 on his podcast, The Indoor Kid. Talk about a fan's dream. Number 103. The game says that silence is a valid option. However, there are some parts of the game where, if you don't speak, you will either respawn or absolutely nothing happens until you do speak. So, you know, they lied. Number 104. In April 2014, a fan thread was started on the Telltale website called Really Stupid Theories, where players are encouraged to post conspiracy theories about the Walking Dead games. Number 105. When first released, The Walking Dead sold over 1 million copies in just a couple of weeks. I know I bought one. Did you? Number 106. Season 3 of The Walking Dead began on December 19th, 2016, with the release of the first 2 episodes. There's currently no release date set for the rest of the season. Number 107. So far, The Walking Dead Season 3 has been very well received. Game Debate referred to the game as brilliant, a rollicking zombie tale. Once again, I'm Joe, and thanks for watching 107 Facts about The Walking Dead. Which game in the series is your favorite? What is your favorite character? Comment below and let us know. We have new videos dropping every week, so let us know what game you want us to cover next. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, where we help you game smarter.